finally, wait, what the heck is going on there? Okay, if we just ignore that one, the rest of it looks okay. This is basically an SVG comic that I programmed an AI to make from this book, which I have to credit the author, Nick Bostrom. But basically, I managed to create a program that's able to make a book into a webcomic of some sort, and it'll work provided the book has like characters and stuff. And yeah, this is the story of how I managed to do that. So it starts with me just wanting to draw like simple SVG panels that I can sort of move around in Krita, and I had to look up their API and stuff for that. But basically, I created a script to help me do that, and I basically programmed this draw panels function. It's like figuring out all the maths to be able to draw the correct rectangles, and it's based off of this height list, which is kind of like how many panels you want in each row. Because if you think of a data structure that can store a webcomic, it'll look something like this. So the first one you'll have like 2, 1, 3. In this specific example, I had 2, 3, 2, 3, and you can see it created 2 panels in the first row, 3 in the next row, and then so on. Next, we have to somehow populate these panels. So I found out that with ChatGPT you can basically create SVGs, and it'll create something pretty nice for you. I prefer using SVGs here because you can sort of see the code and adjust anything you want. But if you use something like Stable Diffusion, then it just is very slow and you don't really know how the program got to its conclusions, I guess. But anyway, now that we have our SVG, we can just fit the SVG into a panel for when we're creating the panel, basically. So now we have to actually adapt an entire book to, or like a piece of text to a webcomic form, which is quite hard to do. It will look pretty terrible. Not as amazing as human can make it because they just are able to do better. But hey, if you have like a piece of text you don't want to read, you can always try this, right? So we have our loaded in our book. We have a Hugging Face API token because I want to use a free. I don't have an OpenAI API key. Um, so I use Mistral a little bit to create just like a bunch of prompts. So the first prompt is basically just going to extract all the characters from the book you have, and I didn't really create like a prompt template or anything. Well, I just it's just one shot prompting, I guess. So you just have your book and you say find all the characters from this book, and make up their appearance. So then I uploaded that like as a JSON. I asked it to output as a JSON, and we have like our characters ready to be iterated over. So now that we have characters, we can create the SVGs of them. So I did that with this code. It's commented out because I had to use ChatGPT because when I tested the like different LLMs, ChatGPT and Claude were the only ones that would actually output like okay SVGs. I made like a spreadsheet, which I'll probably add in here. But yeah, SVGs and LLMs aren't amazing quite yet, but they do work, and you have to kind of piece it together in order to make it work. That's why I had to sort of chunk it down so that first I would break it down into characters, create the SVG art for the characters, then break down the entire novel. So once I did that, I got this output. I don't know where I've kept the prompt, but basically you have to prompt the LLM to break down the book into background art, character art, and dialogue, and then create panels for each of the like panels in the webcomic. So this is like what it output. It got like 12 panels for my example. Then basically I just created a bunch of prompts that allow it to draw the SVGs. So here's a prompt for creating some SVG art for the comic panel, and then I just fed in the JSON here and then the SVG characters as well, so that it like can chunk them together. In the end, we just get like this massive list of like SVG strings that we can then iterate over to finally create the webcomic. And yeah, in the end, we end up getting this result, which I mean, it's a prototype, but it works, so I'm happy with that. And yeah, I guess it'll probably work for pretty much any book you wanna prompt it with. I tried it out on Metamorphosis by Franz Kafka, which if you haven't read, I guess I can give a quick summary of. So basically, babe, would you still love me if I was a worm? No. Yeah. Anyway, here's the finished product for like the first page or two of like Metamorphosis. It's not amazing, but hey, at least it worked. Now I guess I sort of have to figure out who would want this service or if it's actually useful and other potential applications. Like maybe if you have like someone who reads at like a third grade reading level and loves picture books, then you can adapt like a piece of writing into a picture book for them. Anyway, yeah. Comment what you think and subscribe. I mean, if you have any feedback, let me know, I guess. But yeah, it's a project I've been working on.